Welcome to the Radical Godly Stewardship Podcast, where we reimagine financial strategies based on kingdom principles. Today's episode focuses on REITs and real estate crowdfunding, two modern ways. I say modern, but they've been a bit, one longer than the other, but two modern ways to build passive income streams that align with kingdom values. So we're going to explore what REITs and real estate crowdfunding are, how they work, and how even small investments can grow significantly over time. I'm Lexi Johnson. Thanks for tuning in. Hey there, wealth saving and investing. And I'm 1 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 1 and 2, saying that financial does not affect forgiveness. Hey there, this is Lexi Johnson. You're tuned into the Radical Godly Stewardship Podcast. This is episode 12, and today we're diving a little bit deeper. Last month, we spent time talking about multiplying, and I wanted to come back and dive a little bit deeper on in real estate, particularly REITs and crowdfunding. So in a previous episode, I talked about investing in real estate, and that definitely aligns with kingdom principles, right? Because the scriptures that we see in the Bible will, as far as inheritance, often talked about land, right? And so real estate is definitely something, land, property, definitely something that we want to make sure that we are leaving, right? We want to leave a spiritual inheritance. We want to leave physical inheritance. We want to leave, monetary inheritance, any kind of inheritance that we can leave. We want to leave a inheritance or a legacy of, healthy relationships, anything that we can do to leave, our children in a much better place, to help move the kingdom forward, whether we're here or whether we're already gone. That's what we want to do, right? So we're going to dig into this episode. And of course, we're always going to talk, have some scriptures. We're going to have some practical application. We're going to do all of that. Okay. So let us take a look. Now, one of my, a couple of my favorite scriptures, and you're going to hear me saying these because, or you've heard me say these over and over for the last several weeks, because these are scriptures that have to do with multiplying, right? So Matthew chapter 25, 14 through 30, that's the parable of the talents. So I'm not going to read these scriptures, but I do want you to write them down because I want you to go back and to read them and ask the Holy Spirit to be with you as you read them and show you how they, relate to what we're talking about today and how they just relate in general in terms of how you should move in your finances, right? So the parable of the talents reminds us to invest and multiply what we've been given, okay? So we've been given something, or we have been given the ability, if we're not given some money, then we have been given ability to go out and make money as producing, right? And so now, we can't stop there at producing it. We have to multiply it. Okay. So Matthew 25 tells us to do that. Ecclesiastes chapter 11, verse 2 now challenges us to divide our investments, or to diversify our investments. And when we diversify, that this is a safeguard, right? You never put all of your eggs into one basket, because if that basket the bottom falls out of it, it burns up, or whatever the case may be, anything in it is going to burn with it, right? Or it's going to disappear with them. So we want to make sure that we are diversifying. Okay. So let's talk about REITs. Okay. Just as we're called to be faithful in little, that's in Luke chapter 16, verse 10, write that scripture down. Starting small with REITs, okay, even $20 a week can cultivate financial faithfulness and lead to growth over time. Listen, many people out there thinking, I can't invest in real estate because I don't have a whole lot of money. You know, I don't have 10,000, 20,000, 80,000, 100,000, 150,000, whatever, to go buy some property or go buy land and do that, right? And so that may be true. You may not have that, but that does not mean that you cannot invest in real estate, okay? Now, you can invest in real estate both actively with very little to no money and passively, okay, with very little money. So today we're talking about that passive investing, right? Which means that you're putting in some funds and it's going to give you some dividends back, okay? You didn't have to go work for it, nothing like that, okay? You just put in the money, it's going to give you some dividends, all right? So you can start small with REITs, okay? And REITs are real estate investment trusts, okay? Real estate investment trusts. So let's dig into that a little bit so I can tell you exactly, or, give you an idea of what they are. So real estate investment trust, as a company, it's a company that owns and operates or finances income producing real estate in sectors like retail, residential, industrial. Okay. So REITs are known for yielding high dividends since they must return 90% of their taxable income to shareholders. Now, there are some things that I'm not going to dive deep into here. For after all, we only have, about 30 minutes or so when we are here on this podcast. However, I do a monthly virtual workshop, if you will, or virtual masterclass, or whatever you want to entitle it, right? But I do one monthly. And so it would be good for you to join that and go deeper into these topics, okay? So, for example, this whole returning 90% of their taxable income, that's something that I'm going to go into in one of these future virtual workshops, okay? So check the link, all right, in the description for that so that you can join the one that we have coming on November 19th, where we're going to be talking about, we're going to go dive deeper in terms of kingdom money mindset, right? All right, let's get back to talking about REITs. So REITs, real estate investment trusts, are known for yielding high dividends, all right, because they have to return that 90%. Now, what is the purpose of a REIT? They allow everyday investors, okay, to participate in real estate markets. What do we mean by everyday real estate investors? Meaning people, maybe like yourself, who doesn't have hundreds of thousands, right, to go buy a property, or even 50,000, 60,000, 80,000 to buy one property, right? This is a way that you can participate in real estate without having to have a whole lot of money. It provides an accessible way to earn passive income without property management headaches. Okay. Now, I don't know about you all, right? And I have always said, when I get into real estate, which I am, when I get into real estate, I do not want to own a bunch of properties. I do not want that headache. Okay. So if you're like me, put a 1 in the chat. If you're like me, put a 1 in the chat. Okay. Now, if you want to own a whole lot of properties, put a 2 in the chat. Now, I'm asking you all to do this for a reason, because this helps me to determine what kind of content to bring to you. Okay. So if I have a lot of people who respond with number 2, then, I'm going to do a podcast episode on how to, go about securing actual real estate property, right? Okay. So that is the purpose of REITs. You can invest. You're an everyday real estate person. You're not, an accredited investor. You're not someone with hundreds of thousands of dollars. You're just an everyday person who, has some income that you can use, that you want to multiply. And this can be a way for you to do that. You want to earn some passive income. This can be a way for you to do that. Or you want to set yourself up to have some passive income in the near future. This is a great way to do so, right? I want to challenge the idea that real estate is only accessible to the wealthy, because it's not. You can start with as little as $20 to $50 through a REIT. Okay, you can do that. And as you attend my upcoming workshops, you can learn more about that. All right. Now, let's talk about real estate crowdfunding. Let's talk about real estate crowdfunding. So crowdfunding is a powerful example of community-based stewardship. This is like exciting, because this is definitely kingdom way. People coming together, pooling their resources, right, to make sure everyone has, right, to serve the greater good. This is definitely an example of that. And it resonates very much with Acts chapter 2, 44 to 45. Write that down. You can go back and read that later, where believers pool their resources to serve the greater good, right? So could this model help us multiply what God has entrusted to us? Absolutely. Okay. Absolutely. So let's talk a little bit more about what real estate crowdfunding is. Real estate crowdfunding involves pooling funds from many investors to finance real estate projects like commercial properties or residential developments. And they're often managed through platforms such as Fundrise, Collab, Arrived, CrowdStreet. These are various different platforms that you can get on. These platforms, some of them you can start with as little as $10. Some may say as little as $100. Okay, but very manageable ways in which you can get started in investing in real estate. This is also good. I just want to make this note here. Both of these are also good for your young people. Okay. I don't know that if I have any young people listening, because I typically attract people who are late 30s on up, right? So, but for your young people, and if there are any young people listening, this is something definitely that you can start doing now, and definitely amass great passive income by the time you're ready to retire, right? Parents of young children, and you want to put monies aside for them to go to college or to start a business or to buy a house. This also is a good way, because these type of investing, the REITs, the crowdfunding, the real estate crowdfunding, these are long-term gains. Okay. These are long-term gains. And listen, even if you are 40, 45, 50, and you've never invested, you can still get started doing this. Okay. You got to do something, right? Doing something, taking $20 and doing something is like taking a step of faith, right? You got to start somewhere, and you'll be amazed what doors will open up to you because you decided just to take that step, that leap of faith. Okay. I have a client that I've been working with likely before I started working with this person. They have well, they have a job. They have a coaching or counseling practice that they run kind of very, very part-time outside of the job. And before coming to me, they probably would have never thought of any other ways to produce and multiply income, right? But now that person, I encourage them, hey, how about you monetize your home? Because we are looking for different ways. You got to produce more income until this business gets on its feet. It can sustain itself and then sustain you and your obligations. Then we need to find other ways to produce income without you having to go pick up, go work somewhere, right? Go show up somewhere for another 20 hours a week, right? So what can we do? What do you already have? Well, the person has, a basement, has a private entry. It just needed a few things here or there. And I'm like, hey, okay, why don't you try, monetizing that space? You're not using it. So let it work for you. Monetize that space. So this person now monetizes that space. Okay. So it's bringing in some income. And now because this person did that, another opportunity presented itself for this person to possibly monetize that space even more, okay, in a different way. And so that's what can happen when you just start with what you have. All right. I said all that. I got all the way away from talking about what real estate crowdfunding is, but I believe that was very important. Somebody needed to hear that today. All right. So we talked about the different crowdfunding platforms. Many platforms, like I mentioned, allow you to start with low minimum investments. So that is what makes it accessible to a wide range of investors. Okay. So begin teaching your child. They may not be able to open an account themselves. However, you could have an account and they can, contribute, and you can give them their dividends. Hopefully you don't do anything you trustworthy, right? Boy, because I know that, anyway. I know parents who do things in their children's name and their children don't even benefit. So yeah, no, that I'm not advocating that at all. I'm trying to tell you how to teach your children how to invest. So children might start working, at 15, 16, 17, and they can't yet open their own accounts, but they can open one through you. Or with REITs, you can actually do a minor, a custodial account, which can then become theirs. So, and you can teach them their little job that they get. Maybe they're able to put $10, every week or every other week or something like that. But you can begin that for them now. Show them how to do it now. And that's something that they can continue through their early adulthood. And then as they get into their, midlife and later on, they've built themselves up a really, really, really nice stash. Okay. So could we be missing the power of collective investment for kingdom purpose? Because that's what the crowdfunding is, right? That coming together. I know here in the United States, we sorely have this, this thought process that, you just got to do everything on your own, everything in isolation, right? And that's not kingdom. Kingdom, there is collective power. Okay. So real estate crowdfunding allows for community-driven investment, and it has a potential for impact and for profit. Now, what I also like is that a lot of these platforms take like a collab. They are putting up buildings, or maybe just even renovating, or they've taken over spaces that they're now making available to college students, right? So it's just a lot of different ways. Your little $10 or $20, is helping you. But oftentimes these platforms, they're doing some work that is really impactful in the community, right? So now let's talk about, I wanted to do an example calculation for a REIT and an example calculation for real estate crowdfunding. Okay. Now, if you're to attend my workshop, then you get to actually, see this on the podcast. You're just going to have to kind of listen and hear. But I wanted to give a particular, scenario. So let's talk about a REIT, a real estate investment trust. And in this real estate investment trust, I'm going to use a real example. So AGNC Investment Trust, this is a company. It's a real estate investment trust company. They have real estate that, people rent from them or whatever the case may be. And so they're going to take the monies that they make and pay it out in dividends to their investors. Okay. So they pay a monthly dividend. And then there's something called DRIP, right? And what does that mean? DRIP refers to a dividend reinvestment plan. So are you going to go ahead and take that money out now and use it as passive income? Or are you going to do a DRIP, a reinvestment plan? And if you are starting where you can start and you can only invest, $20, $100, $500, then I would say it's probably best to do a reinvestment plan. Let those dividends compound, right? So I'm going to put here, yes, we're going to do a DRIP. We're going to buy 11 shares. The stock price is $9.51 per share. See that? This is why I'm saying you can begin investing in a real estate investment trust company for little to nothing, so $10, right? $10. Can you do that weekly? Can you do it every other weekly? If you can do more, right? So we're going to buy 11 shares, which is we're investing roughly $100. Okay. We are going to give $20 a week. Okay. So we're going to start with $100. Then we're going to do $20 a week over the next 12 months. That is roughly about $1,040. All right. The yield, okay, the yield is 15.4%, which that's pretty decent for a trust. The average yield rate of return, dividend rate is anywhere from 4% to 8%. Okay. So this one is 15.4. Pretty decent. One of the other things that you want to do when you are investing in REITs that pay out dividends is you want to make sure that you research the company, make sure that they are solid financially, make sure that their dividends, that they are paying out their dividends regularly, that they have not missed payments. Okay. You don't want companies that miss a lot of dividend payments. All right. If any at all. All right. So 15.4%. And let's say, okay, what will this look like after 5 years? Okay, so after 5 years, you're going to have about $7,348.34. That is not bad for $100 that I put in, and I'm giving $20 a week, doing this 5 years. That's not bad at all. Okay, your average annual return 6.74%. Meaning, so you're adding about 1,000. A little over 1,000, okay, in dividend income. Not bad. Not bad. You paid, total dividend payments, $1824.56. So there's two things going on here when you invest in a REIT, because a REIT is a stock. Okay. So you have the stock growth. Okay. And then you also have the dividends. Now we're focused on the dividends here because we're talking about passive income. Okay. So not bad for a little bit of money, right? And you got to start somewhere. Not bad at all. Yeah, what else do I want to say on that? Not bad at all. So you got the stock performance doing its thing, but then you got the dividends that are being now you're reinvesting the dividends, so you haven't taken it out. All right. Let's just say you have a child, they're going to go to they're going to be 18. Let's say in, I don't know, 10 years. What would that look like? So in 10 years, your dividend payments over 10 years, $9,394. That is not bad. That's a nice little, nice little chunk change for, when the child turns 18 to purchase, to either, go into business for themselves, to help with college, or to help with, what did I want to say? College, purchase a home, could be down payment on a home, could be, and I actually wouldn't take that and do a down payment on a home. What I would do is buy some land, right? And believe it or not, you can buy land for 10 grand somewhere. Okay. So there's just, different things, different ways that you can go. You don't have to have $1 million to do this kind of thing. You can start small, and, maybe you're like, well, I'm 60 something years old already. Doesn't matter. Start small. Right. But what's more important is that the legacy that you'll leave. Okay. Because you're going to leave that to somebody so that they can continue that. Does that make sense? Okay. All right. So we are at 27 minutes. Can you believe it? Having fun talking about REITs and crowdfunding. And the calculation for real estate crowdfunding, let's just say your initial investment is $500. You have an annual return of 8% over 5 years. Okay. Quarterly reinvestment. So you can get that compounding. That's what we talked about last week, I believe. The 500 is going to grow to about 745 over 5 years. Now, you're going to say that's not a whole lot. It's not, right? But remember, those first few years, the compounding, it may not look like a lot, but then, a few more years later, you keep compounding. That compounding interest becomes a beast after some years, okay? All right. I want to give you guys some practical application, some immediate action steps that you can do, because that's just who I am, right? I don't want to get on and teach and then just not give you something practically that you can do. All right. Research REITs. Okay. Research them. Find one REIT that aligns with your interests. You can use a platform like Vanguard or Fidelity or Charles Schwab, or there's one more that I'm thinking of. I can't think of it anymore. I was going to say TD Ameritrade. Oh, E-Trade, because TD Ameritrade was taken over by Charles Schwab. E-Trade is another one where you can get on those platforms and, just put in the search bar, put in REITs, and they're going to pull some up, and you can click around on a few of those and just begin to look at them and look at those what makes up their portfolio, what companies make up their portfolio, and all those types of things, right? In our workshops and webinars, we dive deeper into this stuff. So hopefully you'll start to attend those. Okay, click the link down below. It is the Stop Begging workshop. I believe that's what the link is called. Okay, click on it and sign up for our first workshop, which is on November 19th. We are going to be talking about Kingdom Money Mindset. All right. Anyway, next, explore some real estate crowdfunding platforms. Okay. So just do some exploring. That's all. You don't have to do anything else beyond that. You can do some exploring. So I named a few already. Collab, Arrived. And I'm not getting any kickbacks from mentioning these people's names either. I should, but I'm not. Okay. Fundrise. There's several out there. You can do a Google search, top real estate crowdfunding platforms for minimal, thing. All right. Third thing, start small and consistent. And consistency is what's most important. Okay. So whether it's $20 a week in a REIT or $500 in a crowdfunding, small, consistent investments are going to lead to significant growth over time. Set a 5-year goal, a 10-year goal, 3-year goal, all the goals, right? I encourage setting a 5-year goal, a vision for your real estate investments. Now, again, these are like a long-term type of thing. And you might be like, no, I don't know if it's going to yield a whole lot. Well, no, it's not going to make you a millionaire you know what I'm saying? However, remember what I said earlier, when you take a step of faith, there are going to be other doors that open to you just because now your eyes are open to this whole world, right? That's just how it works. Okay. That's just how it works. So passive income strategies aren't just about financial gain. Okay. They're not about becoming a millionaire in that sense. Passive income is what it is, right? It's to help you so that at some point you don't have to keep showing up 80 hours a week, 40 hours a week, right? Maybe now you can cut back to 30 hours or 20 hours, or maybe even less than that. And at some point, hopefully not any hours, right? By stepping into these investment options, even at a small scale, we're advancing the kingdom. We're doing what God has told us to do, multiply. Okay. So this week, I challenge you to take action, whether by researching REITs or setting up a profile on one of those crowdfunding platforms, and begin exploring the investment options that are going to fit your financial goals and your kingdom calling. All right. So radical stewardship, it's about being proactive. It's about being intentional. That's what it's about. Share this podcast. All right. Share this podcast. If you haven't gotten the my complimentary guide, Stop Begging God for Money guide, then I want you to do that. Click the link. The link is in the description. And also, I want you to click the link and attend the webinar on November 19th. It doesn't cost anything. Neither of those things cost anything. Okay. But some time. All right. Some time to read and some time to, or time to show up on the Zoom and attend the webinar. All right. So that's it. Right. Until next time, keep producing, keep multiplying, keep dominating.